streaming services to talk more about that. Former MLB, 11 years in the league, first baseman, outfielder. Loved watching him during my time in middle school and high school, playing up as a youngster in high school ball. Logan Morrison joins us here on the program. I got to tell you, the game itself has really evolved, and it's changed so much, Logan, that, we got automated strike zones. We got, pitch timing, and even in the batter's counts, a lot has really sped up and changed the game. And living here in Denver, Colorado, going into Colorado Rocky games, like, I loved enjoying going to a game that doesn't have to take me more than 3 hours, especially on a Tuesday night. So seeing a lot of these drastic changes, and then even from when you were playing in your playing time, Logan, like, what has really impressed you a lot about this league? Because it's only going to continue to get better from here.
Yeah, I think most of the changes you're talking about, I was, when they were first imposing the rules, I was kind of against, but it's worked out very well. And with the batter's clock, the pitcher's clock, speeds it up a lot, and I think it's been great for the game. It's definitely helped for bringing revenue and eyes to the game. I think the sponsors really was trying to drive MLB to stay under 3.5 hours as average game time, and for whatever number, for whatever reason, those are the numbers that meant that we were going to start making more money. So that's what's happened there. They did a good job, and I think you got to remind me of the second part of that question.
Yeah, no problem. Just basically, like, with where we're moving forward into the future, because a lot of these youngster talents, like, I mean, the game's going to be constantly evolving, and the more and more we continue to see a lot of these young talents, and a lot of it's, a lot of it took adjustment. A lot of it too had to kind of take of, like for pitching, for example. I mean, I used to love watching the old schools where starters, you give me about 70, 80 pitches up from there, like give me 7 innings at least. And then you go and tap into your bullpen. That's changed up a lot. And I think a lot of that had to deal with, availability, different types of, workouts, and just kind of keeping your body in the best shape. So
Yeah,
that's kind of what I looked at from here.
I think some of it too is the analytics say that the starting pitching shouldn't go through the order 3 times. Numbers starting to go up from there. So I think a lot of that plays into it, and they were able to. I don't know if they still are. I know they changed some rules recently, but they were able to send relief pitchers up and down all the time. So it was easier for them to cycle relief pitchers in and out, and they figured that would be the best way to go about it.
So looking back at this World Series, because I think it was just fantastic the way that it began and then the way that it ended. Now, a lot of people will tell you, I mean, the Dodgers winning the World Series back to back. But I think a lot of it is that there were guys that were playing and they executed in the right spots and at the right time. And it
Yeah,
wasn't even a whole lot about Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, he's the big stud. But when you get guys like Miguel Rojas and Will Smith, I mean, even when you look back at your career, when you're like the guy that's like, I need to contribute any and every way that I can, whether it's defense, offensively, getting us in good position. What did you make of that in that last game? Because that was just thrilling the way that thing ended.
well, I think there's so much attention paid to the big stars in the lineup, especially. It's like, all right, this is how we got to get these guys out, and they either do that or you get walked, and then they go after the other guys. So it's up to the other guys to kind of be the heroes or the zeros in that situation. So that's why you do have the Rojas's and guys like that stepping up and hitting, getting big hits, big homers. And I think a lot of the talk that I've heard is like, oh, it's baseball's a dynasty, or they're gonna have dynasties now because the Dodgers spend whatever kind of money they want. And it's like, man, a couple of plays could have decided that differently, and the Blue Jays could have won it very easily. So I think there's more parity than what people want to think. Just because there's the first time back to back since the Yankees, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I think about this with the Toronto Blue Jays is I think they have a very good group. Now I know the hardest part is that you're dealing with, Bo Bichette, who just rejected an offer. He's going to end up testing the market, but I mean, my big thing is like anything up in postseason. If you come in there where you got guys that are red hot in your lineup from top to bottom, you also come in with strong pitching because bullpen is a man's best friend. And especially when you got really good starters that even if they can't give you a full length seven, you go out there, you're a manager, and you're like, give me at least five, give me at least six. We'll see what goes from there. Then you can tap into the bullpen, and it's a game of chess at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I felt like, with the Blue Jays, I totally get the excruciating feeling of when there's plays that became errors and just times where you get in your own head. When you're up and on that side, it's the worst feeling, but a ton of times it's what shapes you too, like as a player moving into the next season of this is now what we've learned. This is where we got to end up going into the next season.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to get back to the World Series 2 years in a row. I mean, I don't know how many times that's happened, but they do have a good group. Hopefully they keep it together. Um, so many factors that factor into that. The injuries and all that kind of stuff. The reason I think that the Dodgers do a good job of are going to be in that spot a lot is because yeah, they do have a higher payroll, but they save their horses for the postseason. As long as we can get through the season healthy and we're ready to go, um, I think that's where they separate themselves, and that's why I think they make a lot of deep runs now.
I'll tell you, I mean, I thought it was a fun postseason altogether as a whole. And you played for this very organization, but the Seattle Mariners, I feel for them, man. Like I really do
Yeah,
feel for a lot of
yeah,
these fans because I'm like, you're so close. And I mean, listen, I was a young kid watching the 2001 Mariners when they won 116. And I'm like, Griffey, Buhner, and Edgar Martinez. Seattle was popping up and at that time. And then just to see them get into the championship again with Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez, I mean, Seattle's is a very loyal and a very grand fan base. They love their team. I think it was just a heartbreaker to end the way it did, but I don't think it's something that for Seattle fans, they got to really have their heads down for very long. It was kind of like, we're so close there, but if we can just get maybe one more, then we
yeah,
may have a shot to represent the American League in the World Series.
yeah. I mean, they've been on the right track. They definitely been on the up. Hopefully, they can keep it going. I don't know much I don't know what their contract situations look like, but I think their starting pitching should be pretty decent for the following year. Um, but and anytime you have good starting pitching, that'll carry you through and can get you a lot of places. But yeah, I mean, if they can, keep it together, maybe add a piece or two and see. I think Suarez he's probably not back. So they
Yeah.
need a third baseman.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you got a stud like Cal Raleigh and a stud in Julio Rodriguez, and you build around the middle. That defense is pretty good. Crawford is short, so I think they're in a good spot.
Yeah, I think so too. I was interested in this because so you started with this organization when it was Florida, then became Miami. And, you know, I look at South Beach and lots of things are happening well for them. I mean, you got the Bucks that play competitively, they got a Super Bowl. I mean, we could talk about the Lightning and the Panthers all day and like how they've been really the main focal point of the hockey realm. But, we've watched, Tampa get into the World Series even in a short year and during 2020. But Miami, it's like I remember watching the whole timeline where it was like they had the talent, they have the guys, but then for some reason there's always some sort of shakeup. Now this
Yeah.
team slowly, I think, was getting a little better because there were some changes in the front offices. But even when you were there, tell me a lot about that experience because even when I watch this team now, I want to see some more interesting. If we're watching, small market teams fight, make their case to compete. Like this team, they needed some sort of go around for quite a while. And I think it's slowly getting there. It's just not quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's changed hands so many times since I've been there. But when I was there, it was I just happy to be in the big leagues and love playing the game. I didn't really know much about, analytics and the numbers at that point. I don't think many people did. And, um, I know the Marlins were definitely later on that scale to kind of totally embrace the analytics.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's some of the reasons why they had struggled to acquire talent, know who to go after, know who not to go after, those kind of things. Not sure, but um, I from a personal player's perspective, I had a great time playing there, and there's a lot of things to do. So I guess the fans kind of get that sidetracked a bunch, but hey, that's part of being in a touristy town. You got to play well for the guys that come out, for the fans to come out.
I had a feeling for you because it was like you played up in Miami and then you played in Tampa. I'm like, man, Logan just feels a lot like a Florida guy. It's
Yeah,
just like the scenery. I get it. Beach season 24/7. I mean, I've been in Miami and Jacksonville
yeah,
before in the past, and like it's just it's such a beautiful weather that time of year, and just enjoying the beaches.
yeah. I live in Jupiter, Florida now, so still a Florida guy. It's where the spring training for the Marlins were. I mean, I was from the Midwest originally, so you come down here in the off season, you don't want to leave. So it's especially, I mean, where you gonna go get your baseball stuff down in South Florida in December,
Mhm.
or up in Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh
So
yeah.
it was an easy choice for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're always popping during the spring training, especially when you got the Grapefruit League. And so that's always a fun time to be at. A final question before we let you go. This was one that I was so curious of, because I do have a friend of mine that I played high school ball with that is now playing in the pros. He was originally with Pittsburgh, now with Detroit. But I meant to ask him this because people fans have been harping about this, about the salary cap, because you're watching the Dodgers of what they're doing with the whole like deferred comp. I mean, I work in a government sector, and understanding about deferred comp is the stuff I'm going to put away later, and after 30 years I can come back to it, and then it's just, it's consistent. They found a way to, in ways, to kind of manipulate it, but doing it smartly when you got guys in the front offices who understand statistics and numbers. So when you think about, I talk about these small market teams like Pittsburgh, Washington, and like a lot of them who can honestly get up into the same page. And as a Vegas native myself, before I came into Colorado, I am curious what the A's are going to look like by the time that stadium's done in 28, 29. So is it necessary for a salary cap, or is this just kind of something that the fans got to harp at their owners to spend the money more? Because this has been a constant back and forth headbutting between fans and owners.
Yeah, I mean, my point of view is that the deferred money is really nothing new, because Shohei wanted so much of it deferred. It's probably more of the reason for the gripe here, and he's, one of the best athletes we've ever seen. It brings more attention to it, but it's been around forever. A lot of teams can do it. I think mm, it's if you have a cap, you're gonna have to have a floor, and I don't really know the answer to it. But I think more than anything, the bigger gripes or the bigger things we need to worry about is having those other teams to try to compete. It's like, you want Paul Skeens on a team that's in the race. Like,
Yeah.
that's good for baseball, not
Mhm.
where they have no chance from day one. It's like,
Mhm.
people are going to say, well, Pittsburgh doesn't have enough money. Well, they've been one of the most profitable organizations in the big leagues. I think it was the last time I looked at the numbers, they were like the third most profitable organization in the big leagues,
Mhm.
and they've been running them that way for a long time. The business, and it's the owner's prerogative. It's the owner's prerogative, but I mean, in my opinion, that's where the game needs to change. Need to at least give the fan base some hope. Um, and I don't know what that looks like either, but I don't know if it's a floor. I don't know if it's a cap. I don't know if it's a hey, just spend money, guys. Like, you guys aren't even trying. So, I think
Yeah.
that would help a lot.
I mean, tell me about it. I hear it from Rockies fans out here all the time when they talk about Dig Montfort. And then it's like, Coors Field is such a beautiful field. Now, it may not
Yeah.
translate the same for pitchers, but it's a beautiful field. I love the sunsets at night. And then it's like the people are wonderful.
Yeah, I
They'll
went out
come out
there.
there.
I went out there after I retired and watched the game, and man, it was like, shoot, like you don't because you're not like really paying attention to it like that as a player. You're kind of locked in
Yeah.
on the game. But yeah, when the sun's set and you're like, holy crap, this is pretty.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean there. And then I remember what I was going to say that that first question you had is about the game times out in Colorado. Before they sped
Yeah.
it up, you could get a lot in Colorado for 4 hours and 30 minutes on a Tuesday night. Those games go forever out there because it's just 15-10 sometimes, it's something
Yeah.
like that. So those take a little longer.
Oh man. And like I said, that is just well worthwhile. I mean, I grown up baseball in my blood from like my family and just watching the games. And I mean, I grew up listening to Vince Scully all the time. And then I'm watching all of like the nostalgic, like even watching you play. I've watched every one of these players and I'm like, my goodness, to be able to like talk about it, reminisce, and just bring back nostalgic memories, man, is like, that's what you
Yeah.
gotta love baseball. It's so rich that way.
Yeah, it's a romantic sport for sure, I think.
Yeah,
Dad playing with his son, that kind of thing. Yeah, for sure.
absolutely. Well, Logan, appreciate you for taking the time to come up onto the show, man. Enjoy the Thanksgiving to you and your family, my
Yeah.
friend, and enjoying the beautiful weather up out there. We'll definitely talk soon, but it's going to be a busy, busy winter meetings this up and coming go around. So I'm interested to see what moves will be around the corner.
No doubt. Happy Thanksgiving, man.
Happy Thanksgiving. All right, so we're shifting on to the NBA. It's going to be a lot of fun. And listen, we just got started. So there's already some shakeups and some moves. And so, again, I'm loving a lot.